Now, in this chapter, we are going to talk about adjectives. That'll be the first thing we deal with. I want to just clarify and make sure that we're all clear on not just what an adjective does, although I think we normally understand an adjective as modifying a noun. So it tells you what kind of noun you're dealing with: a happy boy, a great story. But in terms of the form, what makes an adjective different from a noun? And that's what we see over here. That's what we see over here in this little bit. I want you to understand that there's a formal difference between a noun and an adjective, and that is that nouns have one gender, unless there's situations where the speaker wasn't sure which gender it was, and so sometimes you may see different forms for a noun. But as a general rule, a noun has one gender. An ish is what gender? Masculine. And isha is feminine. Good. Who remembers what ear is? The word for city. It's feminine. The word for hand, yad, is feminine as well. Okay? So these nouns have one gender. Adjectives, on the other hand, can have multiple genders because they have to be able to modify nouns of any gender. And so that's the formal difference between a noun and an adjective. Nouns have an inherent gender or a gender grammatically assigned to them. Adjectives have to be able to inflect, change their ending to match the gender of the noun that they are modifying. Now, I'll give you an example here of the word tov, and this is in your textbook as well. The word tov means good. And here's the good news about this chapter. When it comes to the adjectives, we already know all of the endings that the adjectives take because they use the same endings, the same inflections that nouns take. So what were our endings for nouns? Zero, a, ta, im, and ot, right? And so here, you're going to see the same thing. Tov, when it's masculine and singular, is no ending. So tov. Everybody say that with me. Tov. But if we want to refer to a feminine singular thing that's good, it'll be tov plus the a endings. So we add a to tov. Tova. Tova. So everybody, tov, tova. And then if we want to make it masculine plural, we're going to add im to tov. Tovim. And if it's feminine plural, tovot. So let's say these together. Tov, tova, tovim, tovot. So if I want to refer to a good horse, it'll be a sus tov. So a good mare would be a susa tova. Good horses, susim tovim. And good mares, susot tovot. Do you hear the echo of the adjective with the noun? So usually they're going to follow each other, and that'll be really nice. Okay, so those are the forms of the adjective. So far, easy, right? Just take the bare form and then add the endings that you already know. Now, let's take a look at a couple of words that are given where just slightly different things happen than tov. Tov is a monosyllabic word, right? But it does not have a changeable vowel, so I don't see any dagesh fortes hanging out in here. But when I get to some of the monosyllabic adjectives that have changeable vowels, then I'll have to worry about the little black Hebrew helicopter dropping a dagesh forte in the final consonant. So let's look at some of these words. We have gadol, which means great. Say that with me, gadol. This is great or big. And if I want to refer to so this is masculine singular as it stands. If I want to refer to a big woman, and you probably wouldn't want to do that in Hebrew, you might get killed. Maybe a great woman. What do? Well, I take gadol, which is masculine singular, has no ending, and I add what to it? What's the feminine singular ending? Kametz he, right? Kametz he. So just take gadol, find the last consonant, add your kametz, add your he. Now, under normal circumstances, I would like to end there. That's what I did with tov. Tov became tova. So this becomes gadol La. Gadola. What's going to happen here? Where's my stress now that I've added a vowel here? By the way, this is called a vocalic inflectional ending. What's vocalic mean? Vocalic means vowel. My ending begins with a vowel, right? Comets hey is a vowel. What does the lamed have to do with this comets hey? Can the lamed close the syllable like it did before? Gadol. Lamed was closing. Now this vowel needs a lead consonant, right? And so my lamed's going to slide over, create a new syllable. It's going to be tonic. Do is now pretonic. Ga is now propertonic. And look, it was open and became propertonic. What do Hebrew vowels do when they become open and propertonic? They reduce the vocal shava. And so if you're looking at your textbook, you'll see that gadol becomes gedolah when it becomes feminine singular. So gadol, long A under the gimel, gedolah. So say that with me. Gadol, gedolah. And look on the plural side, gedolim, gedolot. All right, so my vocal shava is there in all the other three forms because adding a, im, and ot adds another syllable, and that first syllable becomes open and propertonic, reduces the vocal shava. Now look at the next word. I have rav, which means much or many. And this is an adjective. Is this monosyllabic? It is monosyllabic. It's one syllable word. Is the vowel changeable? Yes, because it's not a historically long vowel. Therefore, I have the hovering dagesh forte wanting to drop in as soon as I start adding vocalic endings here. Okay? So if rav is much or many of a masculine singular thing, and I want to make this feminine singular, what will I add after the bates? Feminine singular. Comets hey. And now what can happen? Drop that dagesh forte in. Now look at the vowel on rav. This was a short pathak. Do I need to change anything here? No, I don't. That's right. You're looking at me puzzled because you're right. There's no reason to change anything. This is a cuss syllable, isn't it? The dagesh forte gives me two bets, and the rav closes the first. I got the first syllable, and then the ba is the second syllable. And cuss syllables have to be short. So I've already satisfied that. So we're good. So all of the forms, once I'm out of the masculine singular rav, are going to have that dagesh forte. So say it with me. Rav, Rabbah, Rabbim, and Rabbot. Now let's take a look at mar. Mar is the Hebrew word for bitter. Bitter. Is this monosyllabic? Yes. Is the vowel changeable? Yes. Then a dagesh forte is inherently hovering above this, wanting to drop in. Let's say the word bitter is now referring to Naomi in the book of Ruth. Call me Mara, she says. Call me female singular bitter. Don't call me Naomi. What's going to happen? I want to put a dagesh forte in the resh. Is that okay? No, because resh is part of the guts gang. So it will reject the dagesh forte, and what will happen to the short pathak to compensate for the loss of dagesh forte here? It will lengthen. So mar with a short a becomes mara with a long a under the mem. Okay? And because I'm adding vocalic endings in all three places, a, im, and ot, I'm going to see the dagesh forte come, get driven out, compensatorily lengthen. So let's say these. Mar, mara, marim, marot. Okay, so you see how this works. Remember, our guts gang is characterized by no dagesh forte in these five consonants. All right, let's go on now to one more type of noun. And this is a masculine singular noun that doesn't end with a consonant but ends with a segel hey. This is the word yafeh, and it means handsome or beautiful. In English, we distinguish usually between something being handsome or beautiful based on whether it's referring to a man or a woman. If you tell a boy he's pretty, that's usually considered an insult, right? So, a handsome man, beautiful woman, and it's Yafé. Now, that's the masculine singular form. And notice, is this hey right here on Yafé, is that a real consonant hey or is that a mater hey? That is a mater hey. If it were a consonant, what would you have to see? You'd have to see, it's not called a dagesh, ma-peak. You would see a ma-peak, which is a dot and a hey, to tell you it's a final hey, to tell you it's a consonant. Now, if I want to talk about a beautiful woman, can I add a comet hey onto a hey that's not a real consonant? No, because the hey's not real anyway. Okay, so I can't just add a peak to it. That would be the easiest thing, though, wouldn't it? What we do here is, since we can't add an ending to a hey that's really a fake hey, what we do is we chop off the mater hey with its vowel. So I'm going to be left with yaf. And now I've got a consonant to which I can add these vocalic endings ah, eem, and oath. So yaf, to make it feminine singular, then adds what at the end? A comet hey. So it becomes ya-fa. So masculine singular, yafé. Everybody say that, yafé. Feminine singular, yafa. Beautiful. What if I want to have a masculine plural form? It's yafim. Good. I just add the eem to the pay. And feminine plural becomes yaf oat. So we're going to add the oat to yaf. Okay? So everybody, yafé, yafa, yafim, yafot. All right. So that's what we do with these segel hey adjectives that the masculine singular ends with. Chop off the mater and its vowel, and then add the vocalic endings to what's left. All righty. Now, I want to go to 9.2 in the Ross textbook. This is down at the bottom of page 81. Here we deal with the syntax of the adjective. Syntax just has to do with how the words can grammatically be put together, okay? And so when we're talking about adjectives, what we're really asking when we talk about the syntax is, how do the adjectives occur with the noun? What are some of the rules that govern the combining of nouns with their adjectives? What we want to do first of all is talk about the three types of adjectives using English as our baseline, and then we'll see how Hebrew creates these sorts of adjectives or these formations. The first thing that an adjective can do is it can function as an attributive adjective. What does that mean? Basically, an attributive adjective tells you what kind of noun you're dealing with. So I could talk about a boy, but I could also describe what kind of boy I'm talking about. And I would use an attributive adjective as in a happy boy. So a boy, just a noun. What kind of noun? What kind of boy? A happy boy. A mother. This could be the sad mother. So both of these underlined words are attributive adjectives. All right? A predicate adjective, on the other hand, isn't telling you what kind of noun you're talking about. It rather tells you what the subject noun is. In other words, whenever you have a predicate adjective, there is going to be a copular construction where a form of is, are, was, or were is present in the sentence. Now remember, in Hebrew, you won't see the copula. Hebrew is the me, Tarzan, you, Jane kind of copular construction. But that's the kind of assertion you're making. You're saying some subject is some quality, all right? And the adjective will indicate the quality. Let's look at some examples in English. In English, I could say, the boy is happy. So happy is my adjective. What kind of adjective is it? It is a predicate adjective. It's telling me what the boy is. My mom is sad. Sad's my predicate adjective. It's telling you what my mom is. Now, look at this next sentence that I have here. The happy boy is tall. What kind of adjective is happy? It's attributive because it's telling you what kind of boy we're talking about, right? And then what kind of adjective is tall? It's a predicate adjective because it's telling you what the happy boy is. So that's the real distinction here between an attributive adjective and a predicate adjective. So you could have both kinds in one sentence. Now, the third type of adjective is called a substantival adjective. Here, a substantival adjective is simply an attributive adjective which has no noun to modify, and because of that, the attributive adjective acts like a noun. Okay? A substantive is a noun or something that functions like a noun. So when the adjective is substantival, it means that the adjective functions like a noun functions. Let's look at a couple of examples here. Look at this sentence. The holy saints love God. What type of an adjective is holy? When I say the holy saints, that's an attributive adjective. Now look at these examples. The holy love God. The wicked hate God. What type of a word is the word holy? Is that a noun or an adjective? The word holy is an adjective, okay? But notice that it is actually filling the role that a noun fills. It's the subject of that sentence or that clause, isn't it? So when I say the holy love God, what I'm really saying is something like the holy people or the holy ones love God. All right? But I can use an adjective as a substantival adjective. So we'll just jot down substantival adjective. And over here, the wicked hate God. Wicked is an adjective, isn't it? But what's it functioning like here? Yeah, it functions like a noun does, so it's substantival. In both of these situations, there is no noun that the adjective modifies attributively, right? There's no overt noun. These adjectives are playing the role of the noun. That's a substantival use. So in Hebrew, we have attributive adjectives, predicate adjectives, and substantival adjectives. And I'll run through them real quickly here. Number one, an attributive adjective in Hebrew, in this sort of a situation, the attributive adjective has to follow the noun. And it has to agree with the noun in three ways: gender, number, and definiteness. So take a look at the word sus, that's a horse. Tov is the word good. Are these both the same gender and number? Yes. Do they both share the same definiteness feature? That is to say, are they both definite or are they both indefinite? The answer is yes. This is indefinite and this is indefinite. Their end, does the adjective follow the noun? Yes, because we're reading from right to left, aren't we? So the adjective comes after the noun. This is a situation where both of these are satisfied, so I would say that this is an attributive adjective, and it's telling you what kind of horse we're talking about. This is a good horse, okay? This is a good horse. In this next example, we have Eretz Gedolah. What gender is Eretz? It's feminine. That's right. So this is a feminine singular noun. Gedolah is an adjective. What gender and number is that? Feminine singular. Are they both the same definiteness? Yes, they're both not definite, right? And so this is an attributive adjective. It's a good land, or a big land. A big land. A land, a big is a big land. Okay? Look at Avot Tovim. What is Av? It's father. Avot is fathers. What gender and number is Avot? It's masculine plural, okay? Remember, Av is one, Avot is plural, but it's still masculine even though it looks feminine plural. And so the adjective that's attributive has to agree with it. Look, I have Tovim. That's also masculine plural, and they're both not definite. And so this is an attributive adjective. Good dads or good fathers. Now, let me go back up here to sus tov. If I wanted to say not a good horse, but the good horse, how would I say that? I would say ha sus, and what would have to happen with tov? It has to agree in gender, number, and definiteness. So it has to become ha tov. So ha sus, ha tov. So in other words, I like to call this the ha rule, okay? If one's definite, they both have to be definite, okay? If the noun's definite, I'm going to be looking for the attributive adjective to be definite. Here I have ir tova. Ir is feminine singular, so tova is feminine singular, and they both are not definite, so this is attributive. It's a good city, okay? And then nashim tovot. Is nashim feminine plural or masculine plural? It looks masculine plural. It is feminine plural because this is women. And tovot, therefore, has to be feminine plural. So I have nashim tovot, and that would be good women. So here's the good thing about adjectives in Hebrew. Even when our nouns try to trick us, the adjective is always true to the gender we're expecting, okay? And so your adjective will always help you if your noun's a little bit tricky. So good women. And for all of these, if I wanted to make them definite, like if I wanted to say the good city, what would I do? I'd add ha to both of these. Ha-ir, ha-tova, okay? So that would be the city, the good city. And down here, if I wanted to say the good women, how would I do that? I would do the ha thing again. Ha-nashim, put the article there, and ha-tovot. Ha. Feminine plural, feminine plural. Okay, so ha-nashim, ha-tovot. Now let's take a look at the predicate use of the adjective. So we've just looked at attributive adjectives in Hebrew. The predicate adjective is going to look like this. In a predicate use, the subject, if it's definite, if it has the article on it, the predicate adjective, what the subject is going to agree with that subject in gender and number, but it will not agree in definiteness. So the attributive adjective agrees in all three ways, gender, number, and definiteness. It's always that way. But if I have a predicate use, if the subject's definite, then the predicate adjective will only agree in two things, gender and number, okay? Now, if the subject happens to be indefinite, that is to say, if there's no article, then the predicate adjective will agree in just the gender and number, and there's no definiteness in the subject at all, so we don't have to worry about that. Let's take a look at some examples, okay? If we have this first example here, we have tov hasus. Tov hasus. I have good, that's my adjective. And then I have hasus, noun. Remember, attributive adjectives have a constraint. They always have to go after the noun that they modify. Attributive adjectives go after the noun. Here, my adjective is not after the noun, it's actually before. So that's one clue right away to tell you that this adjective, whatever it is, it cannot be an attributive adjective, because if it were, it would have to follow the noun. Now the question then is, does it agree with this noun, hasus, in gender and number? And the answer is yes. These are both masculine and singular, sus and tov. But the noun here, which is the subject of my sentence, is articular. It's got the article. It's definite. The adjective here is agreeing in gender and number, but not definiteness. And so this is a situation where the adjective is a predicate use of the adjective. And so this is telling me what quality hasus is. So I'm going to translate this as good is the horse, or I could also translate this as the horse is good. Both of those are possible ways to translate this. But tov is what the horse is. That's the idea. Now in the second example, I have hasus tov. Here, same words. Hasus is the horse. Tov, good. These are both masculine and singular. Okay, but look now, the adjective is after the noun here. So, attributive adjectives also have to go after the noun. Does that mean just because tov is after the noun sus, Does this mean that this has to be an attributive adjective? Not exactly. I need to now look at the definiteness question. They agree in gender and number, but if the noun is definite and the adjective is indefinite, this cannot be an attributive adjective because attributive adjectives agree in all three ways. So this has to be a predicate use of the adjective. All right? And that means I'm going to translate this as tov as what the horse is. So hasus is tov. The horse is good. All right? Remember, if this were an attributive adjective, I'd have to follow the ha-ha rule. Hasus, ha-tov. If the noun's definite, the attributive adjective has to be definite and follow the noun. Okay. Let's take a look at an ambiguous possibility. Okay? Here I have gadol ish. Gadol ish. Gadol is masculine singular. Ish is masculine singular. But notice that the adjective gadol is before the noun ish. Can this be an attributive adjective? The answer is no, because attributive adjectives always go after the noun that they modify. So if you can remember the A of attributive and the A of after and keep those together, that'll help you. Okay, if my adjective ever is not after the noun, it can't be attributive. So this is going to be a predicate use. Now, in this situation, the noun is not definite. It's not ha-ish, it's just ish. Notice that the predicate adjective is the same gender and the same number, but they actually are both indefinite. So there are situations where my predicate adjective will agree in all the ways that my subject noun agrees. And that is when the subject noun is not definite, then this will not be definite either. Okay, so this could be translated as a man is great, or great is a man. All right? Now, take a look at this example here. Here I have ish gadol instead of gadol ish. Notice that ish is masculine singular, gadol is masculine singular, but here gadol follows the noun. Can this be an attributive adjective? And the answer is yes. Attributive adjectives go after the noun they modify, and they agree in gender, number, definiteness. They have the same gender, number, masculine singular, no definite article on either of these, so this could be an attributive adjective, in which case I'm going to translate it as a great man. Tells you, remember, attributives tell you what kind of noun you're talking about. A great man. What kind of man? A great man. Also, predicate adjectives can follow the noun as well as precede the noun, and they're going to agree in gender and number as well. And since the subject noun here, ish, is not definite, and if it's the subject and this is the predicate adjective, I won't have any definiteness on either of these. Okay, predicate adjectives are never definite. They're always just gender numbered, but no definiteness on a predicate adjective. So this is, if it's a predicate adjective, it would be a man is great. A man is great. Okay, so whenever the subject noun is not definite, a predicate adjective likewise will not be definite, but will share its gender and number. And there can be some ambiguity here when that predicate adjective comes after the noun. Okay? Here you're going to then have to be looking for some context. If it's a predicate adjective, you're going to insert is here. It'll be a copular construction. Something is such and such a quality. But if you have ish gadol, and then you have a real verb following this, something like ish gadol halach el ha'ir, then that means somebody walked to the city. You can't make this a predicate adjective because your verb is not a copula there. Your verb is halach. So you're going to translate this and understand it as an attributive adjective. A good man or a great man walked to the city. Okay? So the broader context will often help you disambiguate.